Tides are the vertical movement, up and down, or rising and falling levels of water over a long period of time. Tides are periodic rises and falls of large bodies of water. Tides are caused by the gravitational interaction between the Earth and the Moon. The gravitational attraction of the Moon causes the oceans to bulge out in the direction of the Moon. Tides are commonly semi-diurnal. That means, there are 2 high waters and 2 low waters each day. Tides in Trinidad and Tobago are semi-diurnal. The 2 high waters on a given day are typically not the same height, that is called the daily inequality. These are the higher high water and the lower high water in tide tables. Similarly, the 2 low waters each day are the higher low water and the lower low water. The daily inequality is not consistent and is generally small when the Moon is over the equator. High tide occurs when the water rises to its highest level. Low tide occurs when the water level stops falling. The tidal range is the vertical distance between the water level at high tide and at the succeeding low tide. Approximately every 2 weeks, during the full moon and new moon phases of the lunar cycle, the tides experience an increased range. The gravitational forces of the Moon and the Sun combine at full and new moon to make high tides higher than average and low tide lower than average. The name spring tide comes from the extra water that appears, not from the season of the year. Approximately every 2 weeks, during the first quarter and third quarter phases of the lunar cycle, the tides experience a decreased range. The gravitational forces of the Moon and the Sun act against each other at first and third quarter to make high tides lower than average and low tide higher than average. The name Neap tide comes from a Greek word meaning scarce. Lowest astronomical tide, LT, is defined as the lowest tide level which can be predicted to occur under average meteorological conditions and under any combination of astronomical conditions. All of the depths shown on the UK nautical chart are the depth of water below chart datum. All of the drawing heights shown on the UK nautical chart are the height of the object above chart datum. All of the tide heights shown in the tide table are the height of water above chart datum. The mean high water springs, MHWS, is the highest level that spring tides reach on the average over a period of time, often 19 years. The heights of lights shown on the UK nautical chart are the heights of the lights above mean high water springs. Tide tables have information about the predicted time and height of high water and low water for a particular port or area. Tide tables help the boat master calculate the margin of safety over a submerged obstruction or under a bridge. The Admiralty Easy Tide website is an example of an online source of tide information. A navigator can select the port or area and the date or dates he requires predictions for. Once a port has been selected, the website generates the times of high and low water. A useful tidal curve diagram, shown here, is also provided. The information is presented in a user-friendly way, helping to ensure that those with little or no experience of tidal predictions are able to interpret the results in a meaningful way.